This is a '05 Accord. Looking at Intake manifold. My girlfriend thinks she may have a bad starter. It's been sitting down for a little while. You see, it's just been sitting there. Battery wouldn't crank it. She even had the keys locked in it for a long time because it doesn't have any keyholes. Well, this keyhole doesn't work, and it doesn't have a keyhole for the trunk or the passenger. So let's see if it's the starter. The battery was already out. First thing I did was disconnect this from the intake, move it out of my way. The next thing I did was take loose the radiator. Started with these two brackets. Disconnected both fans and removed them from the plastic clips on the radiator on both sides. There's the other clip. There's also another clip, looks like it goes down to the AC. You can just slide it out of its bracket. You can see the guard down on the ground there. Removed all of the plastic clips in there. Had about 6 plastic clips and 2 10mm bolts. The original cover, I think some of them has the iVTech. It had a VTech on it. The plastic cover was 2 10mm bolts. Just put those back where they were. Same here. Radiator didn't look too bad. No cracks or anything. The cap looked pretty good. Had to disconnect the lower. Disconnected the lower by using a flathead and pulling this plastic retaining clip or whatever it is out, pulling it off of it. It was a little snug, so pull it up off of there. Remove the top hose. I had intended on taking this off, but I think there's a bolt under there. I couldn't reach it, so I hooked that. This looks like the transmission cooler line. This was probably the hardest part. I had to kind of maneuver good enough to get a good angle with my needle nose pliers to kind of pull it off of there. There was another connection that I disconnected on the driver's side of the vehicle at the very bottom. So I need to get in there. If you can see it, I need to get in there. See the 43. I think that's the starter. Need to get in there and take it off. Take it to AutoZone and see if it's any good. Next, I think I'm going to remove these bolts for the intake manifold and maybe remove some of these wiring brackets out of the way. I don't have the book. Normally I buy the book for my vehicles. Don't have the book for this Accord. It's Valentine's Day and this may be her only gift. All right. Got the throttle body off. Had these 2 nuts and 3 bolts across the front. There's also a bracket. I think you can see it better on this side here at the bottom. It bolts down to the bottom down there. There's those 2. Bottom bracket is the short one, and here's the difference. These are 2 of my other brackets for the sensors and the throttle body area. These are my throttle body bolts. I took those off. It got in my way, so I didn't hesitate. To take them off. Disassemble the airflow as well. I did that first. Disassemble the airflow. Took a loose throttle body, and then completely removed the bolts and nuts here, and then on the bottom there were a couple hoses in the back. These small air hoses here. I'm not sure what they go to. Have one still there. I'm assuming this is going to be enough room for me to operate. The starter looks old. It looks old. It looks too old almost. So I'm sure it's bad. Disconnect these connectors. I think this is probably power, negative or constant or something, some other. Looks like a bolt back there. You see it, it's kind of hiding from us. You see it there, maybe a 14 or something. And then one in the front here. I heard that you can do this without taking out the throttle body. But I also heard if you have small hands, you probably could do it. And if you didn't, you'll be wasting time. So I just went on ahead and took it off. I know they say it's best to replace these gaskets once you come loose, so probably do that. Maybe get to the the other stuff needs to be done, just some routine maintenance since it has been sitting down for a little while. These are the only tools that I've had to use. Long flathead, short flathead, breaker for the manifold bolts, the grip pliers and the needle nose, there for the hoses, unloosening and disconnecting. The manifold, I think 12 millimeter, all of them. Throttle body 12 millimeter. The rest for the splash cover on the bottom, the radiator, the smaller things are 10 millimeter. I think the air box may have had 8 millimeter size. So I'm gonna get this off and then check it in at the local parts store and see what's going on with it. All right, finally got it out. This is the area that it sits in. That fits in there. You see the gears in there and the transmission. I watched a couple of videos, one about a guy said you can stick your hand back there. Using my breaker, I don't see how I could have stuck just my hand back here without taking this whole intake manifold off. There was so little room, even with the breaker bar, that maybe had like a 1/8 inch turn to break it before I could even get a smaller ratchet in there. I'm using bigger impact sockets. Since I didn't have my air today, I just went on with the elbow grease. I think that's your knock sensor back there. Disconnected all of these. This is the top of your starter. I think this is the bottom of it. This is the knock sensor here. I disconnected them from the brackets also. This was a 17 and a longer 14. The 14, to break it, I had to use a wrench. Use a wrench. That's the hose again. The top one in the back behind it. You really can't see it until you get back there, get everything moved out of the way. This is the bottom. This is the bottom intake manifold bracket bolt. These two are the throttle body nuts and bolts. These are other brackets. This is the very first one that I took off in the very front. Electrical bracket, think about a throttle position sensor, I think that's it. Or the map sensor, whichever one is in the very, very front. This is the intake manifold. I know it's dirty in there, so I'm gonna get those a good spray down, some brake cleaner or something. Now y'all wanna see it? Looks old as dirt. Know what's going on in there. Hopefully, I think they said they could just test it. Looks mighty dirty. It does look broken and bad. But we're gonna see if it's any good. Probably not. I'm not sure what they want for one of these, but install is same as removal.